The principles of energy conservation is one of the world's most rigid, unyielding rules. It states that energy is a constant. It cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed. It's the idea that in a closed system, the total amount of energy in all of its forms remains unchanged. But before we get into that, I want to say something that I've been wanting to say for the longest time. That is, welcome and thank you for coming to my TED Talk. So, how many of you in the room have taken or take physics? Okay. To those who don't worry. This isn't really about physics. It's about this. The word pass on has two meanings. One, to die, and two, to impart. In physics, we use pass on or transfer to show when energy changes from one form to another. But in our daily lives, pass on is a heavy phrase. It's a euphemism for the end. It's what we say when the lights go off. And this concept has been one that I've held very dear to me for many years. It came from one of my first spoken word poetry pieces, and it's still one that is very important to me because I can say that it's changed the way I live my life. I used to look at the principle of energy conservation through a purely scientific lens, thinking that it only applied to experiments like pendulums and collisions. But then I realized that if you look at your life, maybe we are just like energy, constantly renewed, shifting, and changing. Because everything that we are is passed on to us. How many of your handwritings look like doctor's prescriptions? Oh yeah, mine too. But somehow, it's not actually yours or mine. If you look at your hands and think about who taught you how to hold that pen, you know what I realized? My handwriting looks exactly the same as my teacher's from over a decade ago. It's been 11 years and we haven't spoken. I don't know where he lives. I don't know what his Instagram is. But my I's and my J's still curve in the same way that his did. I never learned that. I inherited that from him. I can give you another example. Right in this room, I have one of my best friends. Her name is Alia. We have spent so much time together in the past few years that I realized that she started to think exactly like me. In the sense that we're so lazy that we find the most convenient way to do things. And I think that's amazing. Because everything that we are is parts of everyone that has ever touched our lives. Or I don't know if you guys do this too, but when I'm walking somewhere and then I realize I'm going the wrong way, instead of just turning around like a normal person, I pick up my phone and I go, huh? Okay, I'm coming. Yeah, I didn't invent that. I saw someone do it once and I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. And now every time I do that, I turn into him. And all of that is inherited energy. I learned to love books because my mother loved them first. I didn't just inherit her DNA, I inherited her belief that clean sheets are never the warmest, that a house is meant to be lived in, messy and loud, because grace grows in the roots of the unjust. I believe that in order to love who we are, we need to learn to love the things that shaped us. Harimau mati meninggalkan belang, manusia mati meninggalkan nama. Okay, it's not a BM lesson. A tiger dies and leaves its stripes, but a human dies and leaves their name. But when you think about everything, isn't name just too small a word? I think a human dies and leaves their legacy. Think of yourself as a cup. Some of you might be small espresso cups. Some of you may be big 3-liter Stanley tumblers, but the same concept. We spend our lives trying to fill these cups with achievements, validation, memories, and love. But the truth is, the tap never stops running. We spill into the people around us every single day. I want you to look at the person next to you. Don't talk, just look. Awkward, right? But what if I told you you did that to yourself? Because every reaction you give, the awkwardness that you gave off, that is you spilling into your friend's cup right now. Every day, you spill into the people around you, and people spill and overflow again and again into other lifetimes. Last year, I lost a loved one. And the world expected me to mourn. They expected me to sob and break down. But as much as it hurt, I couldn't. Because I knew that she was never gone. She just passed on. And everything that was her has been scattered, darting across the world on the fiercest of winds to find anyone who needs to be emboldened by everything that made her strong. Death. Death doesn't come because we cannot live any longer. Death comes because we can only be held in one form for so long. So we, like energy, we transform, we shift, and we renew. She was too big for one body. She became the wind. She became the atmosphere, and one day, when I feel brave for no reason, or gentle when the world tells me not to be, I'll know that she never left. But this isn't just a comfort for those who grieve. This is a responsibility for us who live. Because if we are the passed down energy of others, then we have a duty to be intentional ancestors. Some of the energy passed on to us can be heavy. Violence, trauma, anger. And energy can't be destroyed, so what are you going to do? But energy can always be transformed. You can take a stripe of anger and through the friction of your own soul, turn it into justice. You can take loss and turn it into empathy. You can do anything you want because you are responsible for the energy that you put out into the world. And if no one asks you this, what stripe are you leaving when you talk to a stranger? What are you telling people when you walk into a room? What energy are you passing on? You are immortal, not in the sense that you live forever, but because you are impossible to erase. And that's what I want to leave you with. We're taught to think of endings as things stopping, as something being taken away, vanishing, the end point. But in physics, nothing ever just vanishes. So what if we were just like that? What we do, it doesn't stop when the moment passes. The care we show, the effort we share, the ideas we tell, all of those leave traces. They create momentum. And that's what impact is. Not permanence in your bodies, but permanence in effect. And what we give out to the world lasts so much longer than we do. Because we are just like energy, and energy cannot be created or destroyed. Thank you.